Okay, today I am going to look at this mouse. It's a great mouse actually. It's a Logitech MX Master 2S. It's not the latest model, but I really love the way it feels, the buttons. I love this speed wheel. It's great for scrolling. You just spin it, it keeps going. It has a way to control it electromagnetically. You push this button and it gets like a normal wheel, but otherwise it spins. Now the only problem I have with this mouse is that there's a button here that when you push with your thumb, it's supposed to switch modes or do whatever you want to do with it. But what actually happens now after some use is the button gets stuck. And so once the button is stuck, the computer just doesn't respond properly. The mouse goes all cuckoo. So it becomes unusable. Now I've tried fixing this a few times. So by adjusting the switch, other videos online have showed just loosening the mechanism inside and such, which I'll show, but it doesn't quite work. Over time it has the same issue. So I'm going to see what I can do over a series of attempts of things to see how we can really fix this ongoing. My immediate solution, because I do want to use the mouse, is to just disconnect this button and figure out another way to solve it down the track. But for now, we'll see how far we get in the video with this mouse. Okay, first I'm going to open it up, and there are screws in here. Culprit lays in here. So we got the different switches, and this one, the main issue, so I'll try to show here, when you push this, you can see in here, there's a little micro switch here. When you push here, it touches on that switch, but you can see that this rubber over time just wears out, and it eventually keeps pushing. Right. So you can further take these out. This whole bracket here comes out along with the switch. So I've tried a number of things, like I said, changing this, filing a bit. But I'm now looking at seeing if I can replace the whole thing or change it some other way. It's quite frustrating. It's a very small switch. The switch still works, I can feel it click. I've put brackets underneath here before, like little spaces to separate it, but it wasn't quite reliable. Because this plastic, this whole rubber mechanism isn't very reliable. It seems okay here, but when you put it in the case, it just doesn't work. Did you see that? It just broke. That's how good this plastic is. I'm just testing it and it just broke like that. Well, that might solve one problem. Okay, great. When the mouse works, I could always buy a new one, but this is, you know, we can fix it, This takes it to the next level. Since this is so kaput already, I'm going to take out the bracket, create an even bigger gap underneath on the rubber seal, and then potentially add in layers of thickness using some material until it connects the button, if it doesn't in the first place. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, what I'm considering here is, I know from experience I could glue this, but it will break again given the way the material is going. It's slowly falling apart, so I don't necessarily want to stress this, you know, glue it and then stress it by pushing down on it. What I think I'm going to do is glue it back in, but push a hole through it, or drill a hole through here, so that on the other side of this, I mean, it's not the most elegant solution, but on the other side of this is a little hole. So I still have the material here to rest my thumb on, but I'm not pushing any force on it. There'll be a little push through button, so to speak, a little pole that comes through with some other button mechanism on it maybe, that will push through to push this, and then that will push the button. Because the problem is this rubber is so deformed, and you can see why, it's just losing its structure, that it was always pushing down. But if that is not a problem anymore, we separate this structure as the pushing function and move the pushing function to some other mechanism. Nothing to lose. I mean, given that the state of this doesn't work, I'll buy a new mouse. But if it does work, it'll be a fun little fixer-upper. We'll stick the mechanism, mechanical pole, or whatever I can find to put here. I'll test it out. Everything's okay. Then I'll glue all this back together and take it from there. Okay, so I was looking around in my millions of screws that I've collected over the years and springs, and so I've just put this back together quickly to try something out. What I found was this. So what I was thinking, if I can put this here, right, and have that fixed in a particular way, glued or whatever, this could actually just lie against the mouse. And because it's so sensitive, I can just get this and just rub it, and that would actually work. It actually clicks, because there's so much leverage on the button when it's all the way up here. It doesn't take a lot of force. So I just need to, I can show you how. I need to get this, glue it to this, so the pushing or the rubbing on this little thing basically is just, plus it's got a spring action, right? So it does have a little bit of give, so it doesn't cause any physical stress. And as I push this, the button will click. So what I need to do now is potentially just glue this on, and yeah, just see how that goes. Now I'll have to, I think I'll have to do it first, is cut out some of the plastic here to make it fit just nice. And not going to be the prettiest looking thing, that's for sure, but hey, if it works, man. Okay, let's give it a try. I'm not going to fiddle with that. I just want it to lay there and let the glue dry. If I fiddle, I'm scared the glue is going to go to the bottom and glue the switch. That's it. Now I wait and see how that goes. Okay, so this should be dry now. It's been a day. Looks pretty solid. of looks weird for now, but I might be able to put something on that. And just get this to work nicely. So just by putting on here like this, it's quite easy to click on it. So I'll put my finger across it and stretch, which seems to work well. So I might just semi-assemble this and try it on the computer to make sure that it's actually functioning like I want. And if I need to, I can clip the spring, because this part actually can just come out. So I could clip the spring a bit if I want, but or at least cover it with something so it's not so abrasive, because I bet after a while of using it, it might be a bit tricky. There. But at least it's seems to have done a pretty good job. So what I might do next is test it and then reassemble this plastic on here, create the space for it, tweak, and it should be good to go, I would think. All right, let me just do some basic testing. I'll come back with that set up soon, I suppose. Actually, I could do the basic assemble first. Okay, let's see. It just remembers how to connect to my computer. Oh, there you go. So hopefully you are seeing a screen overlaid. You can see the mouse moving. I might tweak this a little bit on the feel, but at least yeah, it seems to work pretty well. Let me see how I can make this a little bit more friction. I'm going to put some sleeving over this so that it's easier to grab onto and I don't feel the spring. So I've got myself some shrink tubing. I'm going to put it on here, but not all the way down, because I think that'll cause more friction. So just enough to the top here, so that as I push down, it will push down on the spring. That's the plan. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't cause more friction. Okay, now the tricky part, how to put the heat on this without melting the mouse. Let's just see how we go. Just did it a bit. See if it grabbed on a little bit more. Nothing damaged. Just test it a bit more. Yeah, it's quite important that I don't make it go down too far, because I think the friction of the rubber against this rubber is not going to be fun. So I'm just going to try to keep it above a little bit. About something moved there. I'm a bit worried the glue is melting, because the spring could get hot and make the glue soft. Or it's the plastic underneath. Hopefully that hasn't broken. That require more fixing. Seems okay. I think the glue got affected by the heat. Just gonna let that sit for a while longer. See if that works. But I'm gonna get some more glue anyway to attach this. So I might just touch that up a little bit. Yep. The glue came off. Okay. I have to redo this, and I think I need to roughen up the surface here on the lever here so that it bonds properly. Better now than later. Not a problem. Just still need to figure out this. So. Oh, this plastic is really turning to crap. It's falling a bit. Look at this. It's really degenerating. Oh goodness, I'm sure it's worth fixing like that. Put something else over it. Oh well, we'll see. Just for fun. The thing is, I found from reviews from other people that even this mouse, yes, this is a common problem with this button, and also the new model, which seems to have the same button from what I heard. I haven't checked myself, but hence I hesitate to buy the next model for this mouse. I wish they had designed the engineering this a little bit more reliably, instead of depending on this sort of crappy material which is going to be pressed lots and lots and slowly cause micro fractures, I suppose. I don't know. Okay, well, the trick will also be to do this such that I can put this in along with this setup, so that this still can be disassembled with this in place. That's also something to think about. So I might need to make this hole bigger so this can go through it as well. There are many ways to solve the one problem, but I'm going to go with this one. So the base of the glue interacts with the base of this plastic, which is hard compared to the rubber on the top. So I need to file away or grind away this plastic at the bottom. So let's just fiddle until we got what we need here. Definitely going to need more. I think I'll grind away a good chunk of this plastic at the bottom since it's not doing anything. Right. I think that will suffice. Just hope the rest of it holds together, yeah? Okay, I'm going to create some space to do the gluing. See if that will work. It's on this side that it needs to be rough. So I'm just going to rough it up with the glue. Okay, that should be good. Actually might roughen this up too. Okay, 1 glue, 2 glue, reassemble, glue inside there as well. Okay, let's give it a try. let me sort this out. When it sort of dries up, we'll come back with the next step. Okay, the glue has hardened, I think, hopefully well enough. Next is to re-glue this back onto that. That will be fun. Okay. If there's any sort of friction, it'll be tough to use. I don't know if you can see that, but sort of have a clear view to the tab below. This should go there, and then from underneath you can see it pushes down. Okay, that looks good. Okay, wait and see. Okay, the gluing seems to have worked. Won't know for sure till I plug it in, but hopefully it doesn't break. Not sure if you can see. As I push this, here it comes down. Good. The original issue of the button touching the contact, or the plastic contact touching the button might still be an issue. So I need to see if that needs to be adjusted for. Just loosening the buttons a bit. That's what's typically suggested by other people, but I find it doesn't create a reliable solution. Yeah, now I'm feeling the button being pressed. Not sure if you can see very well in there. See how loose that is right now. But when you push down, it creates contact. But if this is all tightened up, the button's always pushed. And I've tried many different things in terms of spaces and everything before, but it just, at least with pushing with the plastic, it was a problem. So I'll have to think about this and see what sort of solution can be made here. This is quite flush against this hard plastic here. So grinding that out a little bit more might allow some space for this to go up. Let's try that as well. seems to have solved the problem. Now the plastic here is not pushing down on this to push this up. So even if I force this, I can feel the button is now being clickable. So that seemed to solve the problem. So yeah, so the plastic here at the back was pushing this whole lever down even before you would push on the rubber to push this, to push the button. And that's part of the problem. This was always engaging. Oh, this is firmly affixed. Now that this has some gap, this is not pushing down so much. So there is a space now to push the button. That was my concern. So even though I've sort of assembled it back right, when this whole fixture has to align with this thickness, I get the feeling that the button, or this mold, right, it's pushing the button. Like I can't feel the click anymore. So there's not enough space in here for this hole. So I might need to grind away more of the plastic to create more space. Let's see. If I open this up a bit, we'll see. Can you hear that? That's a button. Now, as I close it, no more. Open it, you hear it. So we look inside here. There's definitely a design issue in the way they structured inside, the mechanics. This here must be resting on here. So actually what I can do is grind away this, the insides. That might be an easier thing to do. Grind away all of this, create a nice big space, and that'll stop this thing from pushing up. So what's happening, you're pushing it inside the case, this gets pushed up. It's all rubber, right? It's quite tight. Let's see if that helps. Seems the glue before did not bond very well with this material, so try a different glue. Just trying to clean some of this up without slicing my finger. So I've just taken this out of the packet to try this glue. Yeah. Sally super glue. squeezing it and nothing. Oh, there, all this is squeezed. All this is squeezed. And this is what's inside of it. Just this little drop of glue. Love the packaging. Okay, I've glued it. Bit stronger, not a great job. I can see this is actually sticking out now, but I can grind that off if I need to. Testing the mouse now. You can see on the screen, hopefully overlaid, the mouse moving left, moving right, up and down. So if I click on the gesture button, which is the one we fixed, you click on it, you see that the windows basically will go into the desktop mode for me, but it would depend on what you set it up for. Okay, I do find it a little bit too tall, and I may cut it, but to make it shorter, but it does the job, and yeah, it's great. It still works, so I'm quite happy with that. Thank you for watching. Please do like and subscribe, and I will get into the next video soon. So take care.